Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome to another episode of Dostcast. मेरा नाम है Vinamre Kasana. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing because we release new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Today's guest is DJ MoCity. He's the founder of Boxout FM, India's largest community radio platform that has now become a music discovery service and archive जहाँ पे जाके तुम बहुत ही बेमिसाल गाने सुन सकते हो. It's part of my daily routine, part of my workout, सब कुछ. I listen to Boxout FM all the time. It's been running for so many years, and Mo essentially is a music promoter. He's helped manage and run several labels. He works with Mad Star Bass. He had his own podcast called Motellacast. He's co-founded a Dubai-based music, arts and culture collective called the 264 Crew. This man does a lot of things, and he's a G when it comes to hanging out and just talking about the state of music in India and abroad and how to run programs that people listen to. The episode with DJ MoCity begins in 3, 2, 1. DJ MoCity, how's it going, brother?
Going good. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. My little story about discovering you. I would go to college and then I would come back home in the summer and realize, fuck, I had no friends in Delhi. All of them were here. So what do? I need to go out to events. Do I go to a Sufi night at Shalom? Certainly not. And in those days, I think 2016, 2017, summer is when the first Instagram posters for something that I couldn't understand, from the graphic was happening.
Okay.
Some esoteric event.
Okay.
Started going and I discovered 3 names: Boxout, Wild City, India Music Diaries. And that was my foray into, I guess, the independent scene in India.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's so great to have bumped into you at the stir party and just have it all, come back full circle.
Yes.
Before we start about anything, how you just keep doing the several things that you do, let's talk about this. I've got a fresh Produce NFT T-shirt that I bagged from your stall at the stir party.
Yes, Fresh Produce. That was the most recent project we did, part of the India Art Fair. It was we produced it, like I was there on the behalf of Mad Star Bass in that capacity. It's a New Delhi-based duo, and we were the first young patrons of the India Art Fair.
Yeah.
So we decided to bring down a gallery that showcases young Indian artists amongst all the other. Yeah, Method. Shout out Sahil. So yeah, that's Fresh Produce was a 9-day program. It took place at Stir in Delhi. And that's where we last met in person.
Yes, and I got my first NFT that night. And ever since, I just now have legal license to say that I'm in the Web3 world. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Without paying a single rupee.
Whoever is watching, listening, you can get your own free NFT. Just go to nft.freshproduce.art. And yeah, it's a gasless mint, which means you don't actually have to pay for anything. We figured out a way how to just do it on your behalf. And that's what made it easy for people to go through with the process.
Your Instagram bio says you're a music promoter. I was trying to look up the definition and ask my friend what it means. It means a bunch of different things. I was just hoping if you could explain what it means, because it isn't an artist manager. It isn't an artist either. So it's just, is it a curator? Like, what do you do exactly with that?
I would say music promoter focuses on promoting music in various mediums, whether it's events, whether it's singles, whether it's experiences, collaboration, performance. And that's what I've been doing for as long as I can remember, which is promoting music through various mediums. That's what I consider being a music promoter.
Right.
In the simplest, easiest way without getting too complicated.
But what does this work entail? Like, are you going out and hanging out with, say, labels? And are you like making IPs?
I mentor labels. I help labels launch. Since I've launched several labels myself, I have some experience and understanding to independent labels. So since I've come back to India, we've launched 2 labels. We've helped at least 6 to 7 labels launch in Delhi and in India. And I would say that's the first work as a music promoter. And then putting on events where people can experience live artists and then go back home and listen to their music. So that's a music promoter again. Putting events would be the primary conversion point in getting new fans or getting listeners to change their listening habit from whatever they were listening before that event.
How does that happen? Because I'm assuming it takes more than a few sessions / priming people to, change their music habits to something else.
Yeah. So I guess we're like, we don't want to be say in the change their habits. Like we don't want to change people. We want to offer people an alternative. We want people to have the option. When I was growing up here, when I went to college in Delhi University, there was very limited options of how we could listen to music.
Such as?
I mean, it was CDs, it was radio, it was VH1 or Channel V. There were some concerts that would happen, the larger scale concerts, whether it's a Akon, a 50 Cent, that kind of thing. So there wasn't this like indie gig scene. There were shows, but it wasn't as popular now. Like on a weekend now, there's at least 10, 15 events that have lineups, that have artists, that have curation. And the whole idea was to offer all those options for people so people can decide what they want. And that's why we started Boxout FM actually. No click, just play, free listening, no ads, no subscription.
How does that even work out? Like, did you make money from that? Because
we spend money. We never made money doing Boxout. It was definitely like a not-for-profit project. And we used events. We used our own kind of agency to keep the radio operational and keep it broadcasting online, since online is like
and
everything.
Several times a day.
Yeah, for at least 3-4 years, it was like 24/7 broadcasting.
Community radio is not big in India. In fact, it probably doesn't even exist in the eyes of people who listen to radio and podcasts now. Why do you think that, starting a community radio service, now it's an archive? I mean, I saw that you guys took it down and...
we suspended the broadcast after 5 years. We stopped broadcasting live.
But 5 years of just indefinite broadcasting.
Yeah.
Didn't get crazy? For example, if someone, say, cancels a broadcast, what do you do then?
Yeah, people cancel all the time. That's I think that one of the probably biggest like points of concern is that like people weren't as people are not used to it, and especially in the lockdown when it became less physical, where people were not coming to the studio to do their show, they had to send it online. So it became a little bit chaotic trying to manage like 100 shows a week or 300 broadcasts a month. I guess we entered this space and we wanted to have the best possible idea of online radio. What London has as an experience, what New York has as an experience, we wanted India to have that same experience.
They are big on community radio?
Definitely, yeah. And I would say in London there's at least like 50 radio stations, online radio stations, and they all have 24/7 programming. They all have listeners. They all have funding too.
Yeah. Have you watched Pirate Rock?
No. What is that?
It's a film from the 60s in the UK. There's a bunch of these rebellious RJs who want to play rock and roll. But the government is pretty conservative at that time, so they ban that. So what they do is they go on a ship, I think in the English Channel or somewhere where they can't be traced. And from there they
broadcast.
They broadcast.
That's like pirate radio, original story.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I guess in a lot of ways, for someone to find the sort of music that you've been playing at Boxout, you would have to log in or have the app and then play it in the background, play it for their friends. I was listening to Boxout at the same time as 8 Tracks was around. You know about 8 Tracks?
Yes.
It was a great service that people just uploaded their own playlists from. And I was listening to these both in tandem. And my first reaction was, yaar, India ke andar bhi badhiya scene ho raha hai.
It was happening, yeah. It was, I guess there was no Spotify at that time too.
There wasn't. And then YouTube was, for the most part, unreliable because of the ads and because of, hey, that's where we make our money. But
shout out to YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube ads. But it was just challenging to find something that someone else had put their heart and soul and then mind into ki ye playlist is genre ki hai to chill. And now we're going to play like a playlist that's classical.
Yes.
Or like podcasts, comedy.
Workout.
Yeah. Focus.
Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I guess that was our biggest mission, or human over algorithm. Because everything was algorithm driven. Everything was data. Everything was insights, ads, conversion, sales. What about just listening to music?
Yeah.
That is curated by humans, because radio is a human experience. Playing music, talking on the mic, introducing you to something, maybe cracking a joke or two. And we wanted that human experience to exist and for people to have that opportunity. And we even pushed for localizing the content more, getting people to speak in English. We launched an RJ hunt. We really wanted to connect on a organic level with the listeners and just be there to share with them new kinds of music that they wouldn't have discovered if it wasn't for Boxout.
I noticed that you changed your audio tag from the standard female voice that said Boxout FM, India's first online community radio service, to, I forgot, it's something in Hindi.
Yes. That's Ankar Tiwari, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick because you gotta have like one Siddhar sound.
Radio. Yeah, so that in the lockdown, we went through a whole we need to Indianize it more. We need to we felt it was too global.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as Indian as it should have, But that wasn't anything we intended to do. It was just people were playing music from all over the world. So they were speaking about it mostly in English. But in 2020, 2021, we definitely gave it a little bit more Hindi in there,
How does it help artists or labels, for example, to have the IPs they have on Boxout? How does it help them really just play for the sake of playing as opposed to when artists typically play? And I'm a layman in this, so I have less information. But when they go and typically play, they have constraints. For example, if you play a club set, right?
Sure.
So there's some things you must introduce in the set so that everyone has a good time.
Sure.
But with Boxout, did that constraint go away? They could play whatever they wanted, or did you have would you brief them?
I mean, we definitely onboarded shows for specific styles and sounds. We wanted a jazz specialist show, a hip hop show, a desi show, a rock show. When we onboarded that specific genre or mood, we didn't tell them what to play exactly. We just helped guide them on how to present a radio show. And since people never had radio shows, it was a new opportunity for them to engage with fans that were already there for Boxout and the other shows. And through those fans, they could grow their network. If you play your show and you feature music from your friends, suddenly your friends is getting tagged on Instagram saying, I discovered your music on Motellacast on Boxout FM. So it creates this sense of community, which we were trying to build. And it allows people to ignore the large numbers and appreciate the smaller numbers that may not be so large, but they're impactful.
They are
because
impactful.
Ultimately, as a performer, as an artist, you want a bit of validation. So if we can get you that, we're not having to break your back and just kind of doing what you love, let us worry about getting the people, because we're music promoters. We promote music to people. And that's when people had great experiences. I would say a handful of artists became known and popular through Boxout and have a career now because of that experience that the community gave back to the musicians.
Is it the most prominent Boxout IP that I've attended, because I live near Delhi, is the Boxout Wednesdays at Summer House.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've listened to acts that I had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
I, in fact, even saw you when you first curated the Tisri Duniya gig back in the day.
Amazing, yeah.
And then I've just pretty much had all kinds of friends on that IP.
Yeah.
What is it about the Aurobindo market, that specific venue, that it keeps happening, has been happening for years?
It's been happening for 5 years. The night started before we began broadcasting the radio. Because we ran out of money to finish the website. And we're like, wait, how do we finish the website? I just moved back from Dubai as a music promoter. One thing I know how to do is put on events. So I hit up the guys that I knew who used to run a venue called Zouk back in the day in Saket, where I used to do a lot of events. Those people now are part of the Summer House, Oro. And then we said, let's do a party on Wednesday. Since Friday, Saturday, Sunday is already crowded.
Yeah.
Let us have our own night where nothing is happening. No one is competing on that night. And let's start doing that. And let's bring all these people that are working with us, whether it's the designers, the visual artists, the musicians. Let's all hang out there every Wednesday and see what happens. And through that, collaboration began. The community started to grow. And suddenly it became like a hub for everyone to go and just feel free, feel safe, feel acknowledged, feel part of something. And That's also it became people thought we were just event promoters then. They're like, what is Boxout FM? I know Boxout Wednesdays. So we then started putting the URL on the wristband and asking people to tune in. So it says tune in when you go home. So in case they didn't know what we actually did, why we did it, we tried to get the event attendees to listen to the radio.
That's crazy. When I was in college, there was this place called Tits. Thank God it's Thursday.
Okay.
But the crazy part is people would not go in there on Fridays and Saturdays, but Thursday. And that got me thinking, if you can monopolize a day of the week and attach it to an event or a feeling, you can create an entire new scene.
Yeah.
Did you experience that with any of the IPs that you've taken out?
Yeah, I feel like the most effective one would be Boxout Wednesdays, because it's like it's a feeling now, like when you go. And now we've just moved it to another venue, which is still in our Bindu market, but it's a bigger space. We can have more live acts. We want to do more live bands. The other point why it's in our Bindu market is because the radio station Boxout FM was in Gulmohar Park. So that's like 5-minute drive. So the artist could come do the radio and then go do the event. If other touring musicians were in our Bindu market, they could make a stop and do a guest performance on the radio. And that allowed us to like record hundreds of sets, because we were just central location to where a lot of the electronic artists were coming.
Is that like, how do you make that happen? Do you quickly WhatsApp someone, hey, if you're in the city, beers on me, come do a set?
Yeah, usually people hit us up actually, because they want the artist to get some attention before their show, before their tour. So if you play a Boxout FM guest mix, it means there's a possibility of new attendees come to your show across the country. So when they land, usually the international artists land in Delhi first. So they either play Wednesdays or they play the radio, and their journey takes off then.
Then they go to Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore.
Yeah. By then they would have already like kicked off their India tour, because it's like they played the radio, people started already following their Instagram account, people are engaging with them. And
it's a rite of passage.
Yes, and the lockdown definitely messed that up a bit. But however, it always worked, because we were already online. We were already broadcasting on the internet, so we just had to get...
So do you have a global audience on Boxout as well?
Yeah, it's definitely more global than local.
Yeah?
Yeah, listeners from every part of the world.
So the artists who get on Boxout FM must have a better time abroad, because they have that audience that goes to the boiler rooms and all the events, and they must tune into Boxout, and they already know about the artists, especially from India.
Yes. I feel like that experience is for everyone. If an artist comes and plays, it doesn't mean they'll only be known in India. They'll be known across the globe, because now they're on this website forever. Like you can't remove them. In 5 years, you might rediscover someone.
So, I mean, is it safe to say you're like a connector figure for Australia, Dubai, a lot of places, to India as well? Because you seem to be playing on international radios as well, including the UK.
Yeah, definitely. When I play on international radios, I mostly play Indian music only. There was a time where I didn't do that, but then there was a time then I just stopped playing anything else but the music we release. And just that made the most sense. If I have the opportunity to play on international station, I don't need to play music they already know or they could hear at any club. I needed to introduce our music in the best possible way.
So it seems to me like you've been following RJs and international stations for a while now, which is why when you do the Motellacast, you also chime in every once in a while, do a bunch of shout outs and say what's happening with you, tell the date, all those things, where you're broadcasting from. Which is why you're also the first guest who deliberately moved the mic to get in front of you, because you understand the importance of how these microphones work. You just have to speak closer to them. But I always wanted to do that, where I could just play a bunch of music and then chime in, hey guys, are you having a good time? Like that. The fact that you do that is a dream for a lot of people. Does it feel cool?
Yeah, it feels amazing. And especially if you're in the zone. When you're not thinking about when you're not thinking about the logistics of running the radio. Because I stopped my radio show when we launched Boxout. I had no time. And then I started to feel anxiety. I started to get depressed and was just not having a good time. I set up the station for hundreds of other people to have a show. And I stopped my own show. So then I put up a post on Instagram. I said, does anyone want to help me bring back my show?
Yeah.
And then a group of 7 people came together. We met and we set up the Motellacast 2019 team. And the 7 volunteers helped me produce the show, because we have like a massive database of labels that send us music before it's released. So when you're tuned into Motellacast every week, we're the only people who can play that music. Exclusive music before it's released on Spotify. So the show needed to be produced. So I had a show producer, track list, playlist. And once I put together this team, I started to feel good about the radio and my own show. And yeah, I feel like it's super important to talk, because that one small interaction, you could change someone's entire mood for the day, entire like week. They could connect to you and relate on that one small level, you know? So
Yeah.
we advise people to talk on the radio for sure.
Yeah. And do they do that well?
A lot of people try. A lot of people did that and picked it up and now produce podcasts, host international sessions. And a lot of people stuck by the DJing thing, the more club thing.
Right.
But yeah, it was a mix of both. But there was always people talking.
So if you see so many artists and managers and labels and other creative people every single day, I'm assuming you must have a sense of what is up and coming. So now that you've got Boxout as an archive only, what is the next step? Like, what are some of the cool projects that you're working on right now that, you know, could be potentially as successful as Boxout?
Yeah, I mean, Boxout is definitely, like, as an organization, is still functional. We're focusing on the label still operates, the events still operate. We just did a jazz festival.
Very tasty tequila, by the way.
Shout out Patron. We did a jazz festival. We're working in the space of culture right now, where there's these institutes and embassies that are in India that have interest in our art, and we want to connect them to the right artist.
Right.
We spent the last 5 years importing talent from outside of India to India. The next 5 years, we're going to be exporting talent from India to abroad. US, UK, Australia, Dubai. Before, we used to be unsure, but in the last 5 years, we know our scene exists and is as good as it sounds.
What do you think has changed?
The number
Why have you
of
become more
artists.
confident
The
as
number
artists?
of artists, so many talented artists right now, and so diverse, so different. Even like we're talking about Tisri Dunya, for example, it's a new like wave. Of course, gully rap is important, and all of that is like where people got the introduction to hip hop on a larger scale in the country.
Right.
But the alternative stuff is as good as everything else, you know. So it's cool to see that happening now. I'm confident that Indian artists are going to take over the world.
I'm confident too.
Yes.
It's going to be a brown yellow world.
Yes. Yes.
So when do you also mentor artists about the direction they're taking their careers, if they should wear black or pink? And
Yeah, I feel like mentoring is one thing, but in grooming is the other. Like,
what do you like media training?
Just stage presence. Let's start with that. You know, because a lot of artists that just started performing after the lockdown, they haven't never been on stage.
Yeah.
So how do you hold the mic? When do you stop the music? When do you speak to the audience? How do you address the audience? How do you look in the... Like, all these things have an impact on the entire experience. And when you just start making music on your computer, uploading it on Spotify, that's cool.
Yeah.
But there's like 15 other things you need to do to be an artist. And that way, when you go abroad and you perform and you impress people, you feel good coming back, you know?
What is the role of mystery and mystique? Because I see a lot of artists, they delete their entire Instagram, and then when they have their albums coming out, they just post that one post, right? And I see some deliberately decide to say less, to let their music speak for them. Does that help their performance at all?
I feel like now saying less is even better than saying more, because everyone is saying more. Everyone has an expectation to make 3 posts a day. Everyone is becoming a content creator, making reels. Everyone is doing dance challenges. Everyone is doing karaoke. Why don't you use it differently? Even by not posting, you're using it differently. Even by not engaging, it's a bit different than what everyone else is doing. Because I know when an album is coming out and a single is coming out, the label will announce a dance challenge. Now, every other song has a dance challenge. The
Right.
dance might not be that great, but it's become like a thing they add on the rollout plan. Let's do a dance challenge, do a Instagram takeover, do a this. As artists, this is something I talk about a lot, is that you should first focus on the art, the music, whatever it is that you're creating, and all of that gimmick, Instagram strategy or content can come later.
You're saying that as someone who promotes music.
As a promoter, we were talking in the capacity of how do you mentor artists.
Right. Because typically you would
Mentoring.
expect someone like who has that job description to say, bro, be everywhere, post 100. But you're saying something counterintuitive to that. You're saying don't.
Or
Just
do
focus on-
something different even. Don't be like everyone else.
Okay.
Because then no one is going to find you either way. Because the people who have 500,000 followers, they're all fighting over that one like.
That's true.
And they're all creating the same content. The only time I react to something is when it's tiny bit different. Why? And that could lead to a different kind of success.
You did the Jazz Weekender and you've been doing a bunch of events. You say you're excellent in managing events. I've seen it firsthand. I'm just wondering, what does it take to make an event spectacular? Is it the guest list? Is it the lights? Is it the artist? Is it a spectacle, like a flash mob, some crazy shit happening? Because I really like that when, you don't expect something and like someone suddenly brings out a bunch of dwarves and like...
surprise performance.
Yeah.
I feel like what makes an event happen is a combination of things. It's obviously the first thing is the experience the minute they walk into the door. Whether you're entering a club, you're entering a farmhouse, you're entering a cinema, you're entering a stadium. That first 5 minutes of your experience is going to shape the entire evening. So that is where really it starts. Everything else after that is part of the checklist, whether it's the speakers, the sound system, the performer, the bar service, the cost of the drinks, the price of food, how strict are the people at the door? Are they discriminating? Is this event inclusive? Is it a safe space? Ultimately, when you're working in nightlife, people are taking time off their life to come have a dance, to come have fun. How can you protect them during that moment of joy? It's not just about bringing 500 people and then leaving them in a room and whatever happens, You need to feel, that's why people keep coming back, is because they feel safe, they feel included, they feel part of something. And it's not really about bottles or service or expensive tickets. Boxout Wednesdays has been a free event for 5 years.
That's true.
If you ever have problems getting in, you just DM the page and we'll try to figure it out, as long as you're within the age that is allowed in the club or in the venue. So we just wanted everyone to try at least this experience once and then make their own decision.
Yeah, you talked about safety. I can't help but think about Astro World and whatever happened there with the people dying, right?
Sure.
That's a classic example of what you're talking about, where it's about the numbers and the hype. And I mean, it's a concert, so you can't expect repeat audiences.
Yeah.
But what have you learned so far about like the whole safety and like letting loose with alcohol in your system aspect?
As simple as the last few weekends ago, we did the Jazz Weekender.
Yeah.
The heat was an issue. Like, it wasn't even people physically doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, the heat became a safety concern. If we started the doors at 4 p.m. versus 6 p.m., like those 2 hours were too hot. So we decided to push back and start a bit later because there was a heat wave. You're excited. You're going out, you're running around, you're dancing, you might get dehydrated. You might not have the best experience. So what we deal with as promoters here are way more difficult, because it's not just like the security of the event or the licensing or the permits. There's also the weather.
Yeah.
Whether it's the pollution or the air or the heat or the rain. Of course, it's there everywhere, but I feel like when it's so hot, you can't process, like you're unable to figure out what to do, So heat was a concern to us, so we started the event a bit later.
Yeah, at the art fair, I noticed that we were running around in the back just handing out water bottles because it was so hot. And I noticed that for everyone in the audience as ticket buyers to have a smooth experience, there's a bunch of crazy maniacs running in the background, making sure everything is spick and span, putting out fires left and right.
Yeah, and that's the people in the background make everything happen. Usually it's easy to judge just by looking at the book cover and what went in to write this book or make the final product.
So do you have a team of people who help you out with this, with managing an event? You've got...
Yeah, we work with various teams, professionals, organization, companies, depending on the scale of the event. Depends on what it is we're doing exactly. We work with the people who are experienced in that field.
I'm going to ask you a weird question, only because, like, I do this podcast and then, someone can ask me, why you, So, like, why you? Why you, of all people, just happen to start Boxout and just become this figure in the music scene? I mean, like...
I don't know. I actually don't have the answer to why me. But I know it's like whatever I started or why I did what I did is because of my environment where I grew up. I grew up in Delhi.
Yeah.
So it's because of Delhi I started all of this. Because my experience, my youth was shaped by living here. And it allowed me to enable my thoughts, my ideas to try to come to life and see it happen here. Because I did live in Dubai. I moved to Dubai for 4 or 5 years. Had an amazing experience. Financially, it was incredible. Generally, as a learning experience, that was like my master's degree in music and art.
Yeah.
Working with scale, doing events for 50,000 people, doing just everything was on scale, and then try to come back here and try to figure out how to incorporate that into whatever it is we're doing here.
You seem like you're very okay with hearing no's or things fucking up, which we were mentioning how people cancel playing on the radio or they cancel before a set, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe now I seem like that, but
are you a patient man?
I'm patient. Yeah, I'm definitely a patient man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a hurry because whatever work I do, I want it to be forever.
Right.
I want it to be remembered in a way that I didn't do it for the hype. We didn't do it for a trend. We are creating the trends. Like you can't impact us through likes. Numbers don't make us do things. We do things, the numbers come after that. So you have to be patient because we've seen a lot of people do a lot of things which we did way before, but it's okay.
So you said that today is pretty much a free day, but you said you work on the weekdays. What is your work? Like, are you going out to different cities with artists?
No. Work means I listen to music. Works means I put together plans for releases. I think about collaboration between artists from India and outside of India, how to get people together to open up new opportunity for the artists that we're working with. Everything now happens online. So I'm just trying to understand this whole new world of like whether it's Web3, NFTs, metaverse. We can sit back and act like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the sooner we engage and figure it out, the sooner we'll be able to be part of that and not sit on the sidelines wondering what's going on.
Yeah, my friend Naman, who was in here earlier, he was talking about how Epic Games, the gaming company, has collaborated with Bandcamp, so they can have like Bandcamp exclusive stuff on the games.
They acquired Bandcamp.
They did?
Bought Bandcamp. They didn't even collaborate. They bought that. They bought the biggest independent record store in the world.
Does Bandcamp help paying artists at all?
For sure. I know a handful of Indian artists that pay rent because of Bandcamp.
For real?
Yeah. Like they get 30, 40K a month Bandcamp sales.
From, say, like
Bandcamp sales.
From 100 people who bought their music, something like that?
Yeah, which is not bad. Because we have tracks on Spotify that have like millions of plays, but nobody ever got paid for those. I mean, if you did, it was like nothing compared to what you get through selling on an independent music store.
But you coexist with Spotify because they give you reach, right?
We coexist because we ultimately want the music to be everywhere.
Yeah.
We're not here to fix a problem that, like, we're already trying to fix other things, you know? I'm not going to get into why Spotify doesn't work or Apple Music doesn't work. We use everything, you know? We've started using more also the Indian services through OK Listen. We distribute now across all platforms.
OK Listen, that's an Indian platform?
OK Listen is an Indian distribution platform.
Okay.
So it goes to the Ghana, to the JioSaavn, because that's also a new network of streaming platforms that the international distributors don't yet have access to. So if you want your music really distributed everywhere, you need to work with an Indian distributor as well that takes the music and puts it on these platforms.
Right, sort of like what Anchor did with podcasts, but now they've stopped distributing that.
Yeah.
Ever since they got acquired by Spotify.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was always a Spotify company.
No, they were independent and they were doing pretty well. And if you had an Anchor account for free, that
Yeah.
was their thing. It was free. You could just have your podcast pushed out to, I'd say, like 9 or 10 platforms.
Yeah, we only use Anchor for all our podcasts for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you just upload them as MP3 files.
Everything. We
Yeah.
edit, we add the jingles on Anchor.
You really use that app?
It's incredible. Like, it's the easiest.
Yeah.
It's one of the easiest. If people say, how do I start?
Yeah.
Anchor is on one of the top 5 things that I tell people to use.
I've used a bunch of paid podcast clients and it's funny I've come back to it.
To Anchor?
Yeah, it's so
now
funny.
it's paid?
No, it's free now.
Okay,
It's still
okay.
free.
It's
But
still free.
the other ones allowed for like custom artworks
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
WAV file uploads, all of
Yeah,
those things.
yeah.
But it was killing my team's like
Too
productivity.
Much time. Too much time.
So they just I give them a WAV file and then they cut it down to an MP3 and then just bam,
Yeah.
audio quality doesn't suffer. So it's pretty great.
I think they figured it out, you know?
Yeah, but you were into podcasts like way before most people even talked about them. And in fact, like the podcasts on
We were
Boxout.
doing podcasts, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the podcasts on Boxout FM, which is an important distinction for everyone who's listening and watching right now. People assume podcasts are talk shows.
Yeah.
But that's not the case at all.
Sure.
Because some of the podcasts that you have is
Yeah.
just music.
Some,
Yeah.
very few.
But it's the exact definition of a podcast is an MP3 file that you upload to the internet.
Sure.
It's not a talk show.
Sure.
So how did you get into podcasts?
I think when we wanted to create content that was like consumed differently, like there was a lot of DJ mixes that were being put up on the website or that were being streamed. We didn't want a lot of DJ mixes, so we started
Right.
tagging a lot of the talk show content, the themed content under podcast. And if people were interested in a specific type of podcast, they would be able to reach that one. And also uploading it online, we used Anchor FM on some specific projects because we wanted them to just exist as a show on Spotify or Apple or any podcast streaming website. And I would say we've done at least like 10, 20 different podcasts, multiple seasons. Our longest running podcast is Fresh Out the Box,
Yeah.
where different artists interview different artists. So there's not one host. The host keeps changing with the artist.
And is it hard for the artist to be non-technical?
Usually, this one is usually focused on like an album release or a tour or a specific song that you've worked on or she's worked on. And yeah, we try to keep it not too technical so that the general listener is able to understand what's going on.
I have an idea. If there are enough podcasts that are talk show-esque that have a wide variety of guests, I think artists should also start including coming to a podcast to talk about their upcoming albums. I think it'll be pretty cool because then they can explain the process that they would otherwise have to fragment across news interviews and like 2-minute clips on Instagram, that kind of thing, where they
Yeah.
can speak long form. Because having had a lot of artist friends, I think they really appreciate that. They call me up and they say, I want to clear out some things.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So then they come and we have a conversation, which is, I mean, I still think that because music is 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes long, at least a track is, there's so much things that artists then have to put as Instagram stories or, but if they can have a platform for that, then it's pretty cool.
Some amazing artists have come up with great talk shows, podcast content that's audio content, you know?
Mm-hmm. Such as?
And
I know Sam
like-
Houston does a podcast.
like mental health awareness, how to be a producer, where to start as a DJ, like different themed podcasts to help tell their story, to help engage with new people that want to learn about that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's everywhere now, you know, like audio content, you can't ignore it. Like everyone is consuming it.
Yeah, it wasn't the case a few years ago. I remember when I started this, I would just be laughed at because like, who
Yeah.
the fuck is going to listen to an hour?
Yeah.
And now suddenly everyone does.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it just shows that maybe the lockdown changed their habits. We realized
It definitely changed their habits, and the amount of effect that the Joe Rogan Experience and other big podcasts have is incredible. Like, it's so large, you can't ignore it. We are getting listeners because those shows exist.
Yeah.
Because people are getting used to the idea of a 3-hour conversation of people that may have never met, and suddenly they have such a deep talk and they're covering topics that no one likes to talk about, or so it's changing people's habits.
Yeah.
And a bit of foreign influence always works, I guess.
Yeah. Also, the fact that the biggest podcast in the world is 3 hours long, you would expect like it would be in that sweet 40-minute window just to get those time spans, but it clearly shows that like an individual as opposed to a media company is making those decisions, which is why it's so, if you think about it, one man's will is just dictating like what the world listens to and watches, which is super cool. That hasn't happened in a long time. It's just been like corporations. And like talking heads.
Well, one of my favorite like lockdown experiences is watching Drink Champs, which is a hip hop podcast. All my favorite rap artists are on it, and it's just like 2-3 hours of them talking about their life. It's amazing. Like
when you're doing an event, how do you decide? Are you curating what the artist is doing? Are you like specifically moving around strings?
We curate that artist because of what they do.
So what does that mean?
Like if they play a specific style of hip hop and it's on our radar and it's an event that's with sneakers and street culture, then we'd bring an artist that's relevant to this audience.
Yeah.
So we know what people are doing. If they haven't played our shows yet, is because we haven't found the right opportunity. But we curate based on what you do. We don't want to bring you to an event and tell you what to do. It doesn't make sense.
Why do you bring the jazz weekend into India? And why Delhi?
Because live music is important, and live music has been missing for a long time. Super easy to do DJ shows. A lot of our peers did that. But we thought it's important that the live musicians play, that the live scene also has a life.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to hear the guitar, the amps, the drums, the whatever it is that makes us move, you know?
Why do you think rock is declining as a genre? I just see less and less rock shows, even though I try to really look for them. It's sort of being replaced by more hip-hop gigs, more deep house, more jazz.
Maybe there needs to be more rock music promoters. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was in Saudi Arabia in December for a music conference.
For a music conference?
Yeah.
How was that like?
It was incredible. I was talking at a panel, and there was like this group of like 7 people that I could tell they were metal promoters, you know? And they were the most engaged because they wanted to know how they could start their own scene. And no one was ever including them in anything.
In Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, rock, metal. And they were like, so they were already feeling excluded. But they came to these panels to understand how we did events, how we built communities. And they've done events. Now, 5 months later, they hosted an event. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess the panel worked. You know?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, do you know about the history of metal in the Middle East?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I know about some documentaries. And generally, it's not like, doesn't have the biggest following because of how the society tags it as a genre, whether it's related to devil worshippers or
I was going to say that.
Something extreme, you know? The music doesn't even get a chance. It's the way the music is positioned that's dismissing the actual music.
Yeah, I'm in my first year of college. I think we read a chapter on like some protest music movements across the world. And one of them was talking about, I forget which country in the Middle East, but how they saw Megadeth.
Okay.
And they decided at that time they wanted to protest whatever regime was operating at that time. And so they would just speak with so much passion, and they had their first mosh pits, and it was just different for all these dudes from a pretty tyrannical regime to just air out their frustrations with metal, right? With all the groaning and the thrashing and all of that, just get it out. And I realized you also need experiences like that. Maybe like that's not something that you would want to curate with just the level of trouble that might bring.
I'll go to those events.
Yeah, you'll go to them yourself.
I just bought a Rage Against the Machine album right now, you know? So I'm going to go listen to that at home, just put on and have that experience of like, you know, loud and feel different about it.
Have you listened to Greta Van Fleet?
No.
It's the new Led Zeppelin that everyone loves to hate.
Okay.
Because they sound like Led Zeppelin, but they're from the 2010s.
Okay.
So they're shit on, but they're an amazing band. If you've run out of like, oh fuck, मैं बहुत Led Zeppelin नहीं सुन सकता, you can just play Greta Van Fleet, like extended.
Okay. I haven't even had a Led Zeppelin phase, so
Never?
No, I listened to The Doors.
Oh,
more
yeah?
than any other band, I would say, from that era.
Did you listen to his poetry? The Doors, the Jim Morrison, like An American Prayer, that?
No.
No, you listen to Roadhouse Blues.
Just the albums, like through friends, like that were not in the hip hop scene, but that was what they were listening to. So we were, that's how we connected to.
Yo, I wonder who Jim Morrison's promoter was, because that guy knew how to put on shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he with the leather, getting super drunk,
all
saying
those
the word
promoters,
fuck, and then getting beaten on stage, all of that.
That's so much responsibility that as a promoter, like the promoter needs to be wild enough to put on a artist like that and not feel that they've done the wrong thing,
Yeah, it's just, I wonder, like,
I'm not that kind of promoter.
I feel that. I feel that as your face turns into an expression I do not know of. But is it tough putting on artists that are sort of wild and I'm not using the wild word as derogate. I'm not using it as an insult, but like people that are just a little too incomprehensible and might do crazy, outrageous shit on stage.
Yeah, working in Dubai, that was our biggest concern, booking people. So we were very careful about who we brought on and what they could do on stage. Because once they're on stage, they're on stage. You can turn the sound off, but by the time you turn the sound off, they could have already said something that might affect the event experience,
Right.
So yeah, a lot of vetting. That happens also by attending the shows. Because if you're a promoter and you're pitching a show, you should see it yourself at least once to understand what you're pitching to other people. So why we miss traveling is because we used to go see shows and then try to bring the shows back,
Right.
And
sort of like A&R. You do A&R, right?
Of course. Yeah, live A&R for gigs is essential as a promoter. Like I go out to see. I'm going tonight to see C-Day Mode perform because I haven't seen them perform in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So I want to know what post-COVID C-Day Mode sound like, and I'm excited.
Do you think this level of immersion is missing now? Because a lot of playlist curators on Spotify just find internet music on the internet. They don't attend gigs as much.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that I have discovered artists through gigs that I could not through the massive bombardment from the internet.
Yeah. There's perfect example. My friend used to send me a link to a band it's called Jungle. It's a British band. And I just never listened to it.
Yeah.
When I saw them in Saudi in December, I fell in love. Like I had to message them, apologize, like, hey, I'm sorry, I never listened to it. But now that I watched them live, I fell in love with them. So watching a band live is super important. Watching an artist live, actually, maybe don't watch too many rappers live because you might start hating them afterward.
Why is that? Because the live act isn't as good?
No, just because they don't know how to perform yet,
Really?
People are like, too early to get into that. But
no, what I mean is, like, is their act not refined
inexperienced.
Yet?
Yeah. And it takes a lot. Like hip-hop demands some people to be a bit cocky and a bit too confident. But if your show isn't good, then
that fails.
It's just whack. It doesn't make sense.
What is that about hip-hop that it demands that sort of aggressive, cocky persona on stage?
I thought that changed. Globally, it changed. But ever since like hip-hop got popular in India, it's always been that kind of like that angry, like that.
It's also more dudes at hip-hop concerts always.
More dudes, a lot of men.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone is looking for the next thing, Like, that's why I thought Tisri Dunya as an act was interesting because they were vulnerable, they were emotional, they were sad. They were the opposite of everything else.
Right.
While everyone was trying to be gangster and hard and these guys did the opposite of that, and I liked that. And it attracted me to their sound, to what they do, and
I saw your Instagram story about the Kendrick Lamar album. You still haven't listened to it, have you?
I've heard a few songs last night.
Did you listen to Father Time? The one about daddy issues?
No, I heard
it's a great song.
I heard the track with Kodak. And then I heard the Cry track. No, I haven't like dived into it.
Yeah.
But I've just mainly been listening to the Jack Harlow album.
Yeah.
And Mos Def, Talib Kweli.
As usual, you were repping, hey guys, listen to this alternative stuff instead.
Yes. Yeah, surprisingly, whenever like I don't have like a positive thing to say or maybe something opinionated, the Instagram views just go boom. Like it goes 10x, you know, every time. I don't know. It's like Instagram wants me to be controversial or like.
That's the way of the internet, guys.
Yeah, like whenever I have like a bad day and I say something on Instagram and it just goes like, I stop even posting on stories because I thought it's pointless with all the algorithm, all the reach going down, and you have to pay for everything. So generally, I'm not
Instagram has become very competitive for sure. It's just it's become a dopamine factory. I mean, you can use it for promotion, but I think if you're just trying to speak your mind, it's just YouTube, by the way, is still the wild, wild west. I think a lot of things can still be done on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is great.
Yeah.
YouTube is the only premium account that I have. Like, I don't pay subscription.
You don't even pay for Spotify?
No, I would never pay for Spotify.
Oh, you just, I mean, of course. You tune into your own music. You don't have to. You have your own Spotify.
I use Spotify to curate playlists, but I generally don't listen to music on Spotify unless I'm like in someone's house or a car and it's their Spotify. I don't pay for Spotify Premium.
Do people ask you to, hey Mo, please curate the vibe, please chala do? Does that happen a lot?
That happens, yeah. But I think we've created so many vibe curators that they don't need me no more. They just curate.
You've automated yourself.
It's everywhere, you know. Like and also it's online. Like all you need to do is just go boxout.fm and press play on the mood you like.
Yeah. How difficult is it to create moods? Is there a process? Like, I know for a fact the word chill didn't exist till 6 or 7 years ago. It started coming up after that. Yeah,
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, I think that also
that just made it relevant to like a zone you want to get into. You know, like I'm gonna Netflix and chill, or I'm gonna like just put this chill playlist on.
Yeah, I also hate the word because it means so many things.
Yeah.
One of my friends uses it a lot. He's like, he's chill. A person could be a serial killer. He's chill.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And so the definition of chill is sort of all over the place. It's like it's hard to do justice to something that says chill or unwind.
I'm definitely no chill person. You know?
Yeah.
You know, no chill here. Because it's Sunday and I'm here. I mean, whatever day it is, like there's no days off, you know? It's too much chilling. Get people too comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you're just at places where everyone else is having a good time and, you know, that's your life, just like concert, gig, concert, alcohol.
Yeah.
Everyone's cheering. How do you, like, center yourself? Because, you know, because you're in the background. This is your work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also play, but, you know.
You don't go to those gigs. You stop. If you are not able to do that, where, like, you can put on gigs without having to be there, then, I mean, something is wrong, you know?
I mean, at this level
like
also.
Now I go to, I went out to a show on Wednesday, which was our show, but I just went to experience it. Like I went to enjoy and listen to the music. Tonight, I'm going to go to see C-Demo. I have nothing related to the event. My only interest is to go there, watch a live artist, maybe have a couple of drinks and head back home.
That's it.
Just because I've removed that equation from my time. Like if I'm DJing, I'll DJ and then I'll go home. I'm not going to hang around.
You don't do operator stuff anymore. But you must have in the start of your career, right? Managing everything.
Oh, yeah. I do. That's why I'd rather do the gig management rather than be at the gig and enjoying the gig. I'd rather do the back end stuff and just be at home and not be there.
If someone has any musical talent, how do they get on the scene? Because I see a lot of friends, acquaintances, bro, scene pe aana hai. And so for visibility, they start going to gigs. If you were to, like, you know, help out a young artist, someone starting out in India, what scene should they go to? And like, who should they get to so that they can be discovered, quote unquote?
So after the lockdown, because there's been like so many people that contacted us or other people, new producers, new artists, like when I went to the Def Jam India party that happened in Delhi a few weeks back. I met like a handful of producers that have been interacting with me on Instagram or sending me stuff, but I never really had the time to engage with them.
Right.
And we ended up just like having a good chat. Everyone talked about their upcoming projects. We just connected in person. And that really helped me get to know them. Because it's overwhelming the amount of links that people send us.
I can imagine.
Like, how do I know? Like, I try to listen to everything, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
So when I met these young gentlemen, they were all super excited to chat and talk about their music. And I had time because I was there to meet people and I wasn't in a rush. So I gave them time and they gave me what they do and we just interacted in a positive way. So there is the right place and time, how you introduce yourself. How much info do you give at an engagement like that where it's an event, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your demo then and there. I'm just happy hearing from you as a person.
Right. So social intelligence is a big factor.
For sure. Knowing people's names.
Yeah.
Like if you go up to people and you want to introduce yourselves and you know their name and you say something, it means that you've done your research.
Yeah.
I don't want someone who does rock to come to me and pitch me their band.
Yeah.
Because I haven't booked a rock band in like never. I'm just saying.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
If you're a hip hop artist, electronic artist, maybe a producer, a singer, I'm more relevant to you, you know?
Yeah.
So if the people contacting you or saying hello to you at an offline event, you need that like 10% of like, okay, this person knows a little bit. I could give them a little bit of time. Because if you give people time and then they're just going around saying the same thing to like 50 people, it doesn't mean that they're networking or making use of the opportunity that they have.
Yeah, it's not just curating your music. You also have to curate the conversation.
Yeah. That's why I'm happy meeting 2-3 people at an event and I'll leave.
Yeah.
I don't need to meet everybody.
Yeah. Also, like, do people want things from you? Like
all the time.
That's what I was going to say.
It's all the time. That's the only thing people want. It's nice when people come and offer you things. You're like, yo, I have time. Can I help you do your radio show or intern at the label or produce your merch? Or you're like, man, that's really special, you know?
Yeah, because I can imagine, like, you must also then have like a strong no BS filter. I mean, you have to have that after all these years of just people saying, "Mere ko musician bana do, mere ko gig dila do," all of that, right?
That's why the face mask is good. So I shave my head, put the face mask, nobody can recognize me, and then stay undercover.
But does it happen, say you're at a gig and you're listening, you're enjoying yourself, and people come up and then they want to have a conversation, then they're like,
like happened yesterday, happened day before yesterday, happened on Wednesday.
How do you deal with that? Do you just say, "Hey man, I'm enjoying myself," like DM me, whatever?
Yeah, I don't think people react well to that, you know, but just depending on who I'm with and what I can do at that moment of time, I try to just not be like off about it, you know, and because they must have waited for so long to just want to have that interaction. But usually it's like I'm just getting on stage to DJ or I'm about to do something. And when something like that happens, then I might be a bit like, yo,
yeah, you don't want to disrupt the flow.
You know, like, let's do this in a bit later. Here's my number or whatever. Yeah,
right before a podcast, if someone calls me, "Hey, we have to talk about this bill," I was like, "Please, let's just talk afterward," because I don't want to. It takes like a mental toll, right? Because you're now focusing on this new thing that's just looking urgent. Yeah. It really isn't urgent.
It isn't.
And then you sort of butcher your act. Have you seen acts bombing on stage? And what's the pep talk you give to them afterwards?
I've seen people all the time. Recently, a lot of the shows that I went to, I guess people have been out of shape.
Yeah.
But it's also good to see people that are like killing it on stage, you know, that really have brought like a different kind of energy. It's been a while that I've seen a DJ do that to me and like, or she or he see like their performance and I'm mind blown. It's been a while. But I would say with the live artist, it's a bit easier to tell when something is not going well.
How so? Are they not able to engage the audience? Are people speaking over them?
It just sounds bad or it sounds muffled or feedback or they're like not 150 energy, you know, like even as a podcast, when I do my radio show, I do a little jumping around.
Right.
When I'm coming to do the intro, like I want people to feel like we're going to take off. Like this is your captain speaking. You're about to be on a journey for the next 60 minutes, you know, or whatever it is. Like, so yeah, it needs that energy, that show that you put on, that persona or...
Yeah, I have this game that I play when I go to flights to see if the pilot is like an RJ level pilot or not.
Oh yeah.
And you can sense like some people will do this English and Hindi routine just standard. Some people will talk about the weather and our lives in general. Some people will wish you like a good festival.
Yes.
Some people will only be technical, and so
Yeah.
you can basically like templatize each one of them.
Sure. What
Some
kind of
people will
RJ?
crack jokes.
Yeah.
When they crack jokes and you see a couple people looking up in the flight like, and then a lot of them laughing, you
Yeah.
realize this guy could just be like on the radio.
Yeah, good icebreaker, especially if people are not comfortable flying after a long time, you know?
That's true. And especially if you've been delayed for a while, you know, and then the stewards and the air hostesses come in with their
Yeah,
smiles and everything's settled. Like, I think pilots are also vibe curators in that sense,
sure.
right? Because they're the only voice you hear beyond all the safety warnings and stuff.
Yeah.
So a little bit of niceness goes a long way, which is what I found.
So yeah, that's interesting. I've observed that, you know. I just
Yeah.
never like made sense of it like that. But
Yeah, because I can imagine if you come in and say, if you do a show and you're like, hey guys, what's up? So aaj ke show mein hum ye karne wale hain. It's just because, you know, people did radio shows for AIR doesn't mean that you have to sound like a corporate voice.
Yeah.
You can add in a personality. You can be awkward, do a bunch of stuff.
just give it different, like give it
Yeah.
a spin, you know. Don't settle with just being you. Like give it a little bit of
Right.
give it.
I think because our generation, I'm 25, a lot of us grew up listening to the radio. There's that spin that we can add. That isn't the case for a lot of people growing up now who didn't have radio. So you've got YouTubers with very hooky intros,
Yeah.
which do the trick. But I think it's also nice that if you specifically address someone, if you're driving, make sure to look to the left, actually don't crash, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Just so that the person listening, of the thousands listening or lakhs listening, can be like, wow,
Yeah.
he addressed me
Yeah.
specifically.
That's how you build a connection with the RJ or the host or
Do people message you saying, I can't live without your show, don't stop the show, etc., etc.?
I don't
Like
know, but
listeners.
yeah, I've definitely I have like listeners that have been part of Motellacast for like 5-6 years, and they've taken the radio show to their offices, to their new workspace, to their families, to their kids. I feel like because the archive is there and people know they can always come back to it. I don't know about the like I can't live without your show. That would maybe I wouldn't have stopped the show if people were messaging me. Oh, like I'm gonna sacrifice more of my time so you can live, because this is what it's about. But those messages where people actually genuinely interact with your show and send you something, it means a lot, you know. Especially if you're putting so much hours, and our shows are not even monetized. Like there's no. The
website is immaculate.
Yeah.
Must have paid a fuck ton to have it aesthetically so beautiful to look at.
Yeah. That's the thing, I guess, is just visually. It's always like visual identity.
Yeah, it's beautiful squares that you can just click that give you the right mood, because you don't want to like go through a list that has A and then all the things, B and then all the things.
We just wanted to simplify it.
Yeah.
So once you get there now, if you're not familiar with what we do, you should be able to get to listen to something in like under 30 seconds.
Do you check your phone when you listen to music?
When sometimes I used to listen to music on my phone, but since the lockdown, I mostly listen to like music on the speakers in my living room with with vinyl or CDs, you know?
Yeah. So you've gone back to vinyls and CDs mostly now.
Yeah, I love that.
So you're not even streaming on Spotify as much unless someone
stream on YouTube.
Yeah, you stream on YouTube.
Stream on YouTube.
Just if you want to discover.
Sometimes on Bandcamp, because I own the music there, so I can offline download it, like for the plane and stuff like that.
Like back in the days.
Yeah. So it's YouTube, Bandcamp, and SoundCloud sometimes. Otherwise, in the lockdown, I primarily was listening to my like physical collection of music.
Yeah.
I heard music that I've never heard that I bought, and for the first time, I could hear it 5 times. And
yeah, it's crazy. When I was in college, we had a music library that you could visit that had all these, I guess, songs of cultural significance. But our professor who taught us histories of the Middle East, she introduced us to Kulthum.
Wow.
The Egyptian singer. She's called Edith Piaf of the Middle East.
Oh my God.
And I fell in love with her voice because I was like, damn, why have I never listened to this? And the world music, quote unquote, journey started for me back then. Then I started listening to Tenari One, then Ali Farkature, all those guys. And then at the same time, I think the algorithm gods were like blessing me. Boxout came up on the thingy. So it's funny that, you know, I came to it through events, sure, but like also through that algorithm of just checking out old music. Yeah.
Okay, incredible.
Yeah.
We can't hate on the algorithm all the time. It's a hate-love relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Kulthum, amazing Egyptian singer. Her songs range from like 40 minutes to 50 minutes. It's like a composition with an orchestra. We've released a remix of Kulthum by a Dutch artist, HBO Vinyl, on one of our labels.
That's
it's
crazy.
Available for free.
On one of your labels? How many labels do you have, Mo?
Well, that was on 264 Records, which was the label we set up in Dubai. But right now, mainly operating 3 record labels. Boxout FM Recordings, which focuses on electronic music, indie, and everything in between. Then there's Aftershock Records, which focuses on hip-hop, Desi rap.
Any artists that I might have heard of on Aftershock?
Well, last 3 singles were Matt Star Bass.
Okay, so you have Matt Star Bass and Aftershock.
Matt Star Bass are the co-founders of Aftershock. One of the guys from Matt Star Bass I met 19 years ago.
That's crazy.
And we set up Aftershock Records then. And then revived it in the lockdown. Aftershock Records started in 2005.
Yeah.
So that's how we started our hip-hop journey. Anyways, Aftershock Records is the hip-hop, rap, Desi rap. Slowly, we'll get into it, a little bit of everything. The next album we're going to be putting out is by an Indian rapper from Calcutta. And it's bilingual. I'm super excited to share about it when it's time to share about it. But yeah, Aftershock Records is the hip-hop label. And then we have MSB World, which is another Matt Star Bass label, just for Matt Star Bass releases.
Only for them?
Yeah.
So why have a label for their own releases?
When it doesn't fit Aftershock or Boxout FM Recordings or another label, we still need to distribute it.
Yeah.
So it goes through that.
So you don't want to constrain so that they can play whatever they want and just release it through their own label. What do labels do now that,
spend money.
But how do they get their money then? Through live acts? Because it's not like, records are hitting double platinum. That has just stopped as a metric.
So how do labels get their money? Labels either have a private investment where, say, someone decides to put an X amount of money into a hip-hop label or electronic label, and they start funding releases, hoping to grow their catalog and then eventually take an advance from their distributor. Or you go to a distributor and you take an advance based on a pre-existing catalog. Then you can make music videos for those songs. If your label already has a catalog and some reach, distributors will give you money to make that content more accessible by creating music videos, by doing photo shoots. So how do labels get money? Is through these ways, either private investment or getting advances from distributors.
It's not through the selling of music anymore.
No, the selling of music does not make money.
It stopped. It used to be huge back in the day. But
selling of music does not make money. Many artists are exploring this Web3 NFT space, but it's not for everyone. But the general population is still consuming music on YouTube.
Yes.
So maybe you could make money by making the ad that they play on your YouTube video, because you're not getting any of the money, Well, the
challenge with that is then your music video has to be a banger. Because if it's a 3-minute song... and everyone watches it, and that everyone is capped at 1 lakh views, for example, then it's hard because music videos have a life.
Sure.
And once that life has passed, it isn't recurring income for the artist, which is typically what they want.
Yeah.
But if the music video is crazy,
people watch it again and again.
Yeah, like the YouTube Vevo days.
Yeah.
Because those music videos really just cemented what music videos were for the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
After VH1 and MTV had done their thing, I remember Pitbull, Akon, a bunch of these guys, their music videos, like crores of views.
Next
and
level.
Everyone watched it because it was this new premium thing.
Yeah.
It was no longer enough to just listen to the songs. All the cafes, everyone else had their screens, and they would just be Pitbull, Akon, Neo, Shakira, all of those people with their fantastic music videos.
Yeah. Music video is definitely one of the best ways to engage new listeners. As a label, I think making money through merchandise, through brand partnerships. Now, for example, Red Bull launched the 64 bars thing in collaboration with Gully Gang, for example.
What's that? 64 bars?
Where rappers from across India are rapping for 64 bars. And it's a collaboration with a label. That's Gully Gang.
Yeah.
And Red Bull is a brand. So this brand integration It doesn't have to be just sponsored by, you know?
Right.
You can be smart about your collaborations and position it in a way where it's beneficial for everyone. Because the artists now are appearing on a nicely finished video. The content seems way more
Polished.
and the label is advancing. The brand is benefiting. So these kind of smart collaborations make sense.
Yeah.
And so it depends on the label. What appetite for sales do they have? And how, like, are they just doing street promo, or are they really building a business for their artist, you know, and building a security, a future?
So what do the street promo guys typically do? Like if they just do like guerrilla marketing, for example, like...
I mean, they just release music.
That's it?
They don't necessarily like plan what all can happen through the release of this music and what all the opportunities that are available through just... Music is one medium, but you can do so much with it. Redistribute it, package it.
What do you mean by redistributing? Like as what?
Like as a sync for a Netflix show.
Okay.
Using it for an ad for a brand. MMA fighter uses your song to enter a ring.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all those are ways that label manager needs to bring something to the table on.
Yeah.
Why am I releasing with this label?
It isn't just like you're now on the scene. That's it.
Everyone can get on the scene, and they can do a better job than any of us in releasing their music because they know their audience better. So as a label, you have to have added value to really do your job, you know?
And what about artists who think that these economic opportunities mean that they're selling out?
I don't know. I feel like now everybody wants to sell out. It doesn't really matter about being underground because once you not eat food for so long, you know, if you sleep hungry multiple nights, then you're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And I think it's also a world where we're seeing less, like you said, less sponsors and more, you know, MoCity X Dostcast. It's the X that's happening now where two industries are like, let's, you know, create this Venn diagram.
Yeah.
And the middle can be
it's genuine. The user knows that now.
Yeah.
The user is no longer like basic. They understand what all you can what all you can do with just their eyes and ears.
What's the sorry, my voice is all fucked up, even though I'm a podcast host from all these nights of just drinking drinks with like a lot of ice.
Ooh.
Yeah. But what's the missing opportunity that a lot of people are not seeing in the Indian music scene? What is something that artists, labels, promoters could be doing better that they're not doing, that you've been seeing for a while?
Come together and launch our own venues.
Yeah.
That's, I would say, the biggest problem and opportunity, but it's also a little bit difficult.
Why is that?
But I think that there's just no like performance spaces. That's the biggest challenge we have.
But like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata, Hyderabad, they've got so many venues.
They're venues, they're rooms that have air conditioning, kitchen, bar setup, but they're not actually performance spaces.
What is a performance space? Better acoustics?
Better acoustics. It doesn't like better lighting, better sound, less furniture that isn't required for a music show. If the venue is made with the thinking of performance, then it can host shows throughout the week.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to just do shows when the restaurant is out of business. Because we're not F&B specialists, we're music promoters.
Right.
For us to do what we're supposed to do, we need a specific type of environment that the show can happen at. And I feel like those are opportunities like independent venues abroad exist because they're somehow the law is different where a bunch of people can show up, take over a building and start hosting events there and no one can say anything to them, you know? We don't have, like, it's not like that here. So I feel like there is, I don't want to say union or association, but like...
There's a lot of red tapeism here for sure.
But we need to somehow have a dialogue in between us, you know, like the promoters, the artists, the labels, like out not at a music conference that's sponsored by Asia Paints or something. I don't know. Like I'm just
just like at
like a real thing, you know, like that could allow us to like at least have an agenda of things we want to hope to change. Then you figure out who can go represent this bill or talk about this or create Because ultimately, entertainment adds value to the city's nightlife, to the city's wealth, to the city's economy.
Yeah.
So
It makes a city worth going to even for tourists because you've got things to do
that's why
at night.
Dubai is the best city in the world.
Yeah.
'Cause-
It really is?
Yeah,
I was there in 2006.
I mean, when I was there randomly on a Tuesday night and they're like, let's go see French Montana.
What?
I'm like, yeah, let's go see French Montana.
Doesn't he have like a bullet lost in his head? Isn't that
I don't
him?
know, but I saw him
Yeah.
on a Tuesday performing 3-4 songs and I felt pretty like, whoa, impressed, you know?
Yeah. And you just got in. If French Montana came to India, you would hear about it 4 weeks earlier. And then everyone would just line up to get passes.
I'm wondering
because-
where he would play if he comes to India. I feel like, yeah, this like also, I don't want hip hop to exist in that space of like nightlife, elite vibes of like,
Yeah.
unless if you have a specific income, you can't really attend these shows. I'm more interested in like legal public shows. Like, let's do it.
Open shows, open air.
10,000 people,
Yeah.
all ages, you know, like that kind of. Those shows are
Yeah.
the ones that convert and make fans feel special.
One of the best shows I attended was Sumit's show at JNU.
Okay.
I will give it to him and his brother. They were so smart about it. Like instead of getting to a venue, they went to JNU. JNU has like thousands of college students just walking around.
Yeah, yeah.
And they collaborated with the DSF, the Democratic Students Federation there.
Interesting.
There are a bunch of poets. But then when Sumit started his set, it's all political. But I was like dancing to it. And suddenly when I looked back, I was at the start of the crowd, hundreds of people
Showed up.
just showed up.
Wow.
All like you could never have that at a venue.
That's smart because
Yeah.
he knew where his audience could exist already.
Yeah.
What might become something easy for them to check out. And I mean, Sumit Roy is definitely sharp guy and he knows what he's doing.
For
Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was here yesterday. We had a fun time.
Nice.
But if we do that, say in public, because I know I saw that music video that is on.
The first time I saw Prabh Deep performing
Yeah.
was on Instagram Live. He was in Housecows Village with like a speaker and a microphone, and they were just rapping on the street. And I was thinking, like, what the hell is going on? This is 2016, 2017. And then the police guy had come and like stopped them from performing. And that's what they used to do. Just go to Housecows Village and just start rapping on the street. And
like busking.
yeah. And I was like, whoa, that's sick. Who's this guy? And then started like to interact and brought him to Boxout, done a bunch of things with Prabh Deep before.
Yeah.
Like, so I saw him like through an Instagram Live while he was just rapping on the street. And I was like, yo, this guy is doing his thing. Like, there are other rappers too. I can't remember everyone, but
But it takes courage to just go beyond that and do something different to get noticed. You know, like have a billboard, stand on a road roller and just sing.
yeah.
Again, like it's because I realized if you sit at your house, you make content, get people on like you,
Yeah.
have a great conversation. It's still great. It's happening indoors.
Yeah.
So much of entertainment is supposed to be for the masses offline as well.
Sure.
And as online creators, we tend to forget that because the convenience of the online world just makes you go soft. And
For sure.
that's my opinion, which is why I think that it's important that now that the world is opened up, you can't hide in your COVID cabin fever. You have to get out.
You got it. You have to get out.
Yeah.
I feel like people are excited to go out finally and just
Yeah.
kind of experience life a bit normal.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram stories traveling abroad as well. I was like, okay, it's just, like 2 years of just being indoors and like psychologically your world has just shrunk.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm only going to meet like these 4 or 5 people, home, someone's place, this market, back home. This triangle of things has just exploded because we were just like, we started believing we were prisoners. This was our life.
Yeah.
And now it's back out. And I think people should attend live gigs and like see what it was like. Because a lot of the kids who were growing up, who in their best years, kind of like from 16 to 18, if you've lived indoors, those are the years when you can sort of rebel and like check out new things.
Sure.
Rap, hip hop, deep house, all of those things. And you're stuck indoors.
They're missing out on something.
They're missing out on
It's
stuff.
affecting their like generally their experience in life.
Yeah. Because I think at these things, even if you go alone, which is the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, there's a lot of people love music. That's very esoteric to them. And they have friends who don't listen to that music.
Yeah.
And they're afraid that if they go out alone, if they're seen going out alone, people are going to judge them. And so they
Yeah.
stand awkwardly or they hope that the alcohol is going to make it better. You go to gigs alone all the time.
I go to gigs alone a lot.
Yeah.
That's my best experience of going to gigs.
Yeah.
Even in other cities, other countries, I go to the gig and I just have fun. I meet people, like-minded people. I interact just as enough as I need. I don't want to go watch a show and talk to my friend for an hour. Because that's also annoying, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. You could do that at home.
Yeah. And especially if they're not into the music, then you feel like you're forcing someone to be with you.
So what can people do? Because you seem like you're very social, and I'm sure like at times it must get challenging as well, managing that many relationships, just saying hi's to a bunch of people, hang out with a bunch of people. How do you do it well?
Hard to do it well. You're always going to piss someone off. Because always you think you said hello to everyone and one person is going to be eyeing you in the back like, yo, I'm just human. But I think just being real to yourself, ultimately, I mean, because half of this relationship is like you're living on behalf of others. You're being convenient for others when they're saying hi to you or interacting with you. You're like, you can't live like that where you're there just to make people feel good or think it's okay. Like there are, like you have to know what you want. If you want to shake all the hands, go shake all the hands. But if you don't want to shake all the hands, be okay with what comes after not shaking all the hands or not
being okay with being disliked as well.
Yeah. Or being, it's fine because you ultimately like, what do you want? What makes you happy and what is that? And how do you put that in context to what you do? Because doing this for 20 years.
You've been doing it for 20 years?
Maybe more.
How old are you?
35.
Damn. Since 15?
14.
14. What were you doing back then?
Attending hip-hop shows in Vasant Vihar.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, they had hip-hop shows in Vasant Vihar.
Yeah. And
who's playing?
Like DJ
Nebu,
DJ Nebu, Pia, Priyanka, Mickey, Kunal, randomest group of DJs.
But they were rapping.
They were DJing. We started rapping after that. Like my elder brother was rapping and then there was like these Thursday night freestyle battles that used to happen.
20 years ago.
In RPM Malchamarg. It's a venue. RPM is a chain.
I know RPM. They have one here as well.
So they used to have one in Malchamarg in Chanakyapuri. And they used to host a rap cypher on Thursdays and Sundays.
So you freestyled?
I freestyled those things and I won and I thought I could be a rapper, but it never really made it.
So would you rap in English?
I was rapping in English, yeah.
That's crazy. 20 years ago.
20 years
How did you even discover that? Did you have the right friends?
Through my brother. He was really into it.
Is he around?
He lives in Oslo in Norway now. But yeah, he grew up in Delhi. We both grew up here.
Yeah.
And then I kind of took over and really tried to make it work with this music thing. But yeah, we were rapping.
Since 14, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what year that would be.
That would be like a long year ago. You can't even say the 90s. Can you? Actually, that must be the 90s.
90s.
That must be the 90s, yeah.
Late 90s, we were like listeners. We just entered into that space of listening. Like I remember when I first saw the first graffiti in Delhi, which was in Chanakyapuri next to the bridge near Bikaji Kama. It was these kids who went to American school or British school, like skater kids. So they just used to tag.
Delhi had skater kids? What are you saying?
Yeah, there were kids like from international schools who would hang out in Vasant Vihar and Priya Cinema, that complex, Vasant Lok complex, and just skate and do graffiti and
that's crazy. That's like such a strange import from.
Skating never really took off till the last few years.
Yeah,
but it was there before b-boying, before graffiti. Before dancing, before rapping, before DJing, skating.
With Delhi's roads, with the quality of roads that Delhi has?
There were these kind of areas that had better things to skate on.
Yeah.
And that's where the skater kids
Did you see them doing the thing on the guardrails?
We used to play Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, so that's with the PlayStation game we used to play and then see that live with whoa. And then go to a hip-hop show afterwards.
So these worlds were connected, still have been.
For sure.
For a lot of years.
Yeah, hip-hop, punk, rock, there's a connection, reggae, all of that.
How hard is it to find a new sound? Do you ever have that every few months? Yaar, kuch naya dhoondna hai, and you go to a random place to find it?
I think the newest sound now is this kind of music from South Africa. It's called Amapiano.
Amapiano?
Yeah, that's and that's like, I would say, the newest genre that's like hit the world by like everywhere. It's but it's not pop yet. It's pop in some places, but like how reggaeton became popular, that's the new thing.
Which was surprising because you would think that after Bob Marley, like that would just be the end of it, but people just made it in a way that you could vibe to it as well, as opposed to
it's being reinvented every 5-10 years. Like there's new styles of reggae, dancehall, Afro beats.
I also think with jazz, like one of the problems with jazz was it was inaccessible and you would have to be from a certain class of people to enjoy it.
Sure.
But then you add beats to the background.
Yeah.
And then suddenly people
like
start
studying music to it.
Yeah,
you
bro.
know, like those lo-fi jazz playlists.
Those people are responsible for like more music discovery than I think most people are, because they, as a consequence of just studying, you're passively consuming it. Every 10th person is going to be like, I'm going to check the track list. And if they have time, they just get into that.
Yeah.
Like I remember my father's friend came in from Nagaland and he gave me a pen drive that had about 180 songs, everywhere from Queen to Led Zeppelin to The Doors and all of that, because he was huge into that. And I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
So that, and I took a trip to Thailand where we had a hotel right next to a pirated CD shop. It had all porn. But then I went to the back and I discovered this one CD that had an orange... like it had an orange square with a tree shadow on it.
Okay.
It was the greatest hits from the Eagles.
Okay.
So that pen drive and that was my moment of getting into music.
Okay.
That's when I realized I need this to be a part of my life.
Nice.
But now it's just like study playlists, focus playlists.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that
deep sleep playlist,
bro.
Breakfast coffee playlist, evening coffee playlist,
it gets crazy.
Meal playlist.
And like, if the playlists are named a little like shoddily or people don't want to reveal that, then they switch off the friends feed on the Spotify so no one can hear that they're listening to sad sleep songs.
You don't discover their true love of tech house or I don't know, like some random genre.
It's crazy though. I think now you cannot, like, unless you listen to the top 40, you cannot like you can't have parallels in friends' music tastes unless you sit down and listen to the same stuff together. I feel like what you listen to together,
work in music maybe,
or that
but the general public, I would say the top 40 is the closest thing to bring people together. Although
I was very surprised when Nicholas Jar did this collaboration with Ali Sethi.
Okay.
Yeah, he you know that Faiz poem Hum Dekhenge?
Okay, no.
And it's this Hum Dekhenge is a Faiz Ahmed Faiz poem.
Okay.
Ali Sethi is the Pakistani musician who so he sang that. And then suddenly Nicholas Jar comes in with this thumping deep house at the end.
Wow.
And they're two of the world's biggest artists in their respective genres. So they collaborated, and as a result...
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's always a thing when people from different backgrounds collaborate and something special comes out of it.
Yeah. I know Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan also did something with like this... I forget this guy's name, but years ago he just used all his qawwali and set it to...
he did something with Massive Attack.
Massive Attack. Oh, right. Must remix.
I have that on vinyl.
That's that
crazy. Must remix. I wake up to that a lot of days. I just like play that in the morning.
Yeah.
It's you heard that remix?
Yes, I have. It's the most popular song on Nusrat's Spotify, weirdly enough. Yes. The Massive Attack remix.
Wow.
So the first, if you search Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, at least according to my Spotify, the first thing that comes up is the Must remix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. What music do you listen to when you wake up? Do you have like a set playlist?
Like today, I was listening to really upbeat music. I never usually wake up and listen to upbeat music.
What do you listen to?
I usually listen to Brazilian music or Arabic music.
Like Brazilian guitar music or contemporary music?
Guitar music.
Like Luis Bonfa,
I don't
George
know.
Benjor?
Maybe not, like, don't have too many names to put out, but like, I would say just like instruments that are not maybe in genres that like from here, you know, like just Brazilian music in general, reggae, Arabic music with Arabic vocals, or Chai and Chill.
Chai and Chill is a good one.
Chai and Chill, I listen to.
Do you curate that yourself on Spotify?
No, now it's like curated by multiple people, but I've done a few like curations and mixes myself.
What about the Spotify playlist? Does that get updated every single week?
Some. Before, when we had like a way bigger team, we used to update them more frequently.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you wanted the playlist to grow, you need to promote it like every week and to update it every week. Otherwise, it'll just be like okay playlist, or like people know about it, but it's not super active. Yeah. We're not really like too active on like promoting Spotify. We'd rather promote everything else. And in Spotify, you find us, we have amazing archive. You can just find what you like. But we're not really, we've cut down on our curation and we're focused more on like the live space, the live concert space.
Back to that again from
online to offline.
So what comes next? Are you going to bring more international acts to India?
Definitely going to do more hip hop shows.
Yeah.
Want to do more like iconic shows. Like
big ones?
Yeah.
Like when David Guetta came to town a few years ago?
Sorry, David Guetta, yeah. I'm definitely, he's been to town so many times. I don't even know. But like, for example, watching 50 Cent for me in India was like special.
When was that?
2006.
Yeah.
And we traveled by train to Bombay because the show was only in Bombay.
Yeah. And
he was performing with G-Unit, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, the whole crew. And their stage was like a these wedding tables? Like
yeah.
With the wooden frame and all. It wasn't even a production. It was just like a basic stage. But it was so important to see that. Like 10,000 kids from other parts of India also were there at that show. And whoever experienced 50 Cent that year in India, I wonder what they're listening to now,
Yeah.
Because that was like such a
iconic moment in time.
Yeah. So what are those like? I mean, there are some significant artists that have never been here yet,
Yeah.
It'll be cool to put on their show.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists are also now actively targeting India because they understand that we have a big market, especially South Korea is huge in that. The BTS army, all of those people. I remember I was a big Guns N' Roses fan and Axl Rose came to town.
Wow.
I was in 9th grade, so obviously I legally had to get a beer and I got tipsy already. And they had this. So imagine this. Imagine like rock and roll machismo in 2013.
Oh my God.
Right? The opening act was called Brand New Machine.
Okay.
A bunch of 50-year-old dudes in
leather
waistcoats, I would say, yeah. With the bellies showing. And this one guy, he just had a Jack Daniels on stage, drank the entire bottle. And I was like, how is this brand of rock and roll hedonism still existing? I was very surprised by that. Like, and the fact that he used to go and do it here in India, just like rock and roll, yahi hota, and then just like solo it out.
They did that?
They did that. They really did that. It was so funny because I would see like, concert footage from the 70s and 80s. That seemed like a product of its time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like anachronistic, like, out of its time to do it now.
Yeah.
Because that sort of sex, drugs. They even use the word sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That is when I lost it. Because I was like, okay.
Sex.
Yeah. And then Axl Rose came on. Sorry. And then I realized someone must have really put a Gillette razor on his vocal cords because they seemed so damaged when he was singing. And he had a whole new band. There was no Slash. We didn't even stay till Paradise City, which was like his number one, because my friend got sick. And we're like, this is like, I don't know, winter in Delhi in 2013, like hundreds of people, just everyone wearing leather jackets, and my friend is getting massively sick. So we left. But that was an iconic moment for me because it meant that, the music we heard privately on the internet or having downloaded it from someplace, we could actually see the acts.
Yeah.
And I think now Indian acts are also getting to that place where they do concerts that, change the shape of the game completely.
Definitely seen those artists and stage shows grow from like tiny venues to like stadium gigs with like 20,000 people or 30,000 people.
What was it like doing the Nucleya gig 6 years ago on the streets?
The Visarjan?
The Visarjan. That was crazy. That was that public act thing that you were talking about.
Yeah. We also, like, that's when I was living in Dubai at the time.
Yeah.
And Tej, my friend who was Tej's manager at the time, asked me to come by, check out the show. And I was like super obsessed with the Snapchat at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, we need to put this on Snapchat. They're like, what the fuck is Snapchat? You know, like, stop talking. Let's go to the show. And then I was like, oh, fuck you. Odion, give me your phone. I'm going to set up Snapchat right now. And we're going to broadcast your show so people outside of here can see it.
Yeah.
The idea itself was crazy, that they were doing the album launch at like a religious gathering on the streets, speakers stacked. Everyone was there. Divine was there. Aluwala was there. Shivani, like the guests who were guest on Nucleya's EP at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a big stage show, street show. It was just wild, like to have that many people on the street, and it's crazy. Like the idea of that entire show is a little bit crazy, you know? So when we were Snapchatting it and putting it up online, it was having like a X 100 effect on people.
Yeah, Snapchat was the main platform back 6 years ago.
There was and we had just like launched Udian Snapchat just that evening itself, and few people started tweeting it, like Vijal Dadlani, few others. Then it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10,000 people watched your Snapchat. It was like,
whoa,
what does that mean? You know, because there was no Instagram stories.
Right, there was no metric to compare it to.
There was none. It was just like we killed it. You know. That video is actually still on YouTube somewhere.
No, that's why because I wouldn't know. I mean, the video is a compilation of all your snaps, and it says your name.
Yeah.
So I mean,
because I shot that.
So someone was right and someone was wrong.
Yeah. I guess.
But it takes something special to sort of look into the future. The fact that you got in the NFTs project, despite like not knowing much about it, says volumes about why like I think you're still like fucking great at what you do.
Yo. You got to keep evolving. You got to stay, surprise yourself. Otherwise, how are you going to surprise others if you stay in the same place?
I always refer to this show called Vinyl on HBO. I'm sure you watched it.
Vinyl on HBO?
You haven't watched it?
I have watched some episodes of it. I have.
The number one problem that most record labels there have is they're so, especially the older A&R agents, is that they have formulas for what will work. They're like, let's do a Christmas album, let's do this album, that album. But they don't look for new sounds. So this record exec, the Bobby Carnival, the character playing the main protagonist, he says that, hey, listen, go to places where you don't go to. You know, find music that makes you feel something. Because he's talking about like the death of rock. This is the era when punk, rap, and disco are coming up.
Yeah.
So then this employee who's been shunned by everyone, he's working in the back supply room for being demoted, right? For doing a horrible job. And all the Latino Americans are like just, teasing him. Then suddenly, one day, he just gets pissed off and then like, you know what? Chill out. We'll take you to a new place. And then they go to a place where he discovers this new music. Essentially what DJ is doing is instead of having one vinyl, he has
like two of the same.
And then he's scratching, he's doing a bunch of different
looping
things.
It.
Yeah. And then this guy goes to his boss. I think I've discovered a new sound. And that only happened because one, he was demoted. Second, he went to a place where people of his race usually don't hang out at.
Sure.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is like being socially fluid, almost like a chameleon, and like not saying no to things that are not a part of your, like purview.
Yeah.
Is very important.
For sure. Definitely. I mean, that, when you asked me to come on and I was like, do they talk about music genres that I'm part of? Do they talk about... I was like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I met this dude and we genuinely like, you introduced yourself. You knew what you were talking about. You knew what we were doing. And that's something that I have time for, because we're all part of this thing. It doesn't matter if it's like this genre or that style or this city. We all want positive change to something that we're part of, that we're doing. So
we want more spaces for better music. That's for sure.
And opinions and like not corporate, independent, people pushing their own vision, and that's
it's like, to give you a personal story behind this, we were cycling a lot in the lockdowns because I discovered that in all the cities where you drive, you don't really get to walk. The drive is a transit, right? It's like you're going from one place to another. You don't really stop in the middle.
Yeah.
You don't like stand on a random latitude, longitude point on a footpath in Delhi and just like observe stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when you cycle, you can stop whatever you want.
Sure.
Wherever you want, you can sit, chill, do whatever, right? And when I would cycle, I was just sick of listening to all the music that I already had. So I was like, let's go to SoundCloud. And then I discovered I was at the Boxout. I was like, okay, I trust this,
These guys.
Like, what I find. And then I was like, oh, let's play Habibi Funk. Because I was listening to funk.
Yes.
So I listened to that. And then I listened to India COVID Relief.
Wow. Okay.
And it had some like disco from the 80s from the south of India.
Wow.
And I was like, yaar, ye to bada sahi. And I was playing it for a few friends. But so like I genuinely appreciated the fact that I had new music just on a cycles that I could like just play.
Yeah.
And just, cycle around. So that was my Boxout FM story for the lockdown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Habibi Funk is like a music collector, and part of the COVID relief fundraiser we put on, he put a special mix.
Yeah.
So he played his favorite Indian records. Habibi Funk usually plays Arabic music.
Yeah.
But on the India COVID fundraiser, he played Indian records as well.
That's why, because I haven't heard it anywhere else.
And it's cool to know that the songs, the mixes reached people like that and it has an impact on us.
Yeah, we're on the show.
Yes. Yes.
That is the power of music. You can give a lecture, you can give a TED talk, but just music is, you don't need any words.
For sure. The music has the message already.
Yeah. We've hit the 7:15 mark, and I know you have to dip. So
damn, 7:15 already?
Yeah. We've been at it for a while, brother.
Well, it doesn't feel that long.
Yeah. So where can people find you? You've got the DJ MoCity website. That's the first thing that comes up. Shout out to your SEO guys. Worked really hard on that.
No, it's not even as the thing is, I had set that website up 14 years ago,
Wow.
So I guess SEO accumulated. We weren't even thinking of SEO back then. But DJ MoCity, anywhere, any platform, whether you're on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, that's where you find me. Instagram, I'm there and I'm not there sometimes. I disable and enable depending on the season.
I was trying to find you for a few days.
But
I was like,
I'm there now. Depends on what's happening. You find me in Delhi. You find me representing New Delhi in India and outside of India and just doing my thing.
Fuck yeah, brother. You can also subscribe. You can go check out the Boxout FM website, right? Or is there an app as well?
Yes, there's a mobile app.
Okay.
Just Boxout FM everywhere. On YouTube, on Spotify.
And you can also check out their Instagram. They post cool stuff. I saw a picture of a guy who lives in LA. He was really happy to be on the Instagram.
Yes, Rayo. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, sweet. It was great doing this with you, brother.
For sure. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, next Friday, whenever the next Dostcast comes out.
Boom.
Bye-bye.
Peace.